The Bridges of Justin's Joint, Part 2, coming up right now. Alright, welcome back to The Joint, where tonight we are going to continue the series of The Bridges of Justin's Joint, which is 20 years worth of bridges in a career of a guy who is me. Anyway, this one probably will be a lot quicker because the second company I worked at, I actually didn't work there very long, so there's really only a couple to speak of, but they're still pretty interesting, and we'll just get right into it right now. So the first project that I worked on at this company was down along I-225 here in Denver, which is in the southern Denver metro area. So let's just go ahead, jump into Google Earth, and have a look at it. Now there's actually a few pieces of this project that I worked on, so we'll just hit them all at once. The first one we're going to look at is called Retaining Wall E. Yes, a retaining wall. And let me tell you, there's nothing more glamorous than a retaining wall, but you know, it paid the bills, and I can drive by it and look at it and know that I know this thing very intimately. When I started at this company, this project was pretty much well underway, and some of this stuff was fairly far along. This retaining wall was not very far along. This retaining wall, I spent a lot of long hours working and reworking and reworking and reworking. And what it is this retaining wall that you can see right here that runs along the tracks. It starts here and it goes all the way over to, let's see, right here. So, you know, it's a nice long retaining wall. It's parts of it are fairly tall, kind of comes down underneath the bridge, comes in around this emergency staircase for if a train breaks down so that people can get off the tracks. And then there's a little electrical box right here for the trains. These are electric trains. All funny enough, this is a funny story. This box caused me several days worth of heartache because they put it here and didn't tell anybody. And so, you know, at the last minute, we're getting ready to submit drawings, and then, oh, there's an electrical box. Whoa, stop. So I spent several long nights reworking this alignment of this wall to come around this stupid electrical box. Anyway, long story short, it's a retaining wall. The next bridge on this project is also right here. As you can see, this is Yale Avenue over I-225. And this bridge was pretty much done when I started at this company. However, I did have to do a bunch of stuff. You know, there was comments, random things needed to be fixed and changed. Let's just do a quick street view of this guy. It's just a run-of-the-mill bridge. It's 2 spans, and it is concrete tub girders, as you can see. They're not the standard I girders. They're like a tub shape. If you look at it in a cross-section, it kind of looks like if you cut a bathtub in half the short way. That's why they call them tub girders. But you know, it's pretty nice looking bridge. I mean, it's cool in the fact that I can go drive over it if I want to. So you know, there's that. There's one more thing on this particular project that I worked on, and that is the median bridge. And what this is a flyover to carry the train from the median of I-225 over here to the edge. As you can see, it's like a S-curve bridge. And this bridge here, it just has kind of standard I girders. They're big I girders, but they're just kind of standard I girders. The notable thing about this particular bridge is these massive straddle piers here. I don't know, you guys have probably seen these, but what it's called is a straddle pier, and the reason it's called a straddle pier is because you can't put a pier in the middle of a roadway, so you have to put something here that straddles the roadway. And that's what we got going on here. These are post-tensioned, which is kind of interesting, and that's what gives it its, you know, the ability to have such a long span and to carry a bridge. But there you have it. This is the I-225 project down in South Denver. Next bridge. All right, for the next project, we're gonna go to Fort Collins. This is a bus rapid transit project. I don't know if any of you guys have been in Fort Collins and maybe rode this. There are really two notable things that I worked on the bus rapid transit in Fort Collins. The first of which was this big, long retaining wall right here, which, again, it's not super glamorous, but there's a retaining wall here. We had to go over this canal or whatever, a ditch. A lot of irrigation ditches up in Fort Collins. But as you can see, you know, we're just have this really long retaining wall, and then we also had to go around these 3 pipes for another ditch or creek or something, I don't remember. But the thing is super, super long, as you can see. Again, another really nice long retaining wall. It was the story of my career at this place, actually. I did a lot of retaining walls, but there actually was a bridge as well down at the other end of this project. And again, the bridge itself was pretty much done by the time I got there, but you know, I did have to do various things, you know, just to spruce up the plans and get it finished off and get it ready to go. But here you have it, this bridge right here. Let's see if we can street view it. I doubt we can street view it. And there it is. There is the bridge. You can drive over it on Street View. Yeah, buddy. Next project. All right, for the next bridge, we're going way out in the middle of nowhere. This is kind of outside of a little town called Ault, Colorado, I think is where it's at. This bridge is along, I believe, Highway 2? Highway 14. Highway 14. And this bridge is notable because they did not want to have this roadway closed very long. This is like a major trucking route through here, so it required a full closure. This bridge here actually was a timber bridge that was built a long time ago, and the whole thing was basically just falling apart and rotting, so they had to close the whole thing, and they wanted to do this in a very accelerated fashion. So what we did was we did this bridge in prefabricated concrete units. So basically they fabricated all the concrete panels and stuff, the abutments, everything was done off-site, brought in, and then they had like a yard set up right here where they would store it all. And then, you know, as they were ready for it, they just bring the stuff in and set it down and butter it into place, and that was it. I think they had the road closed for maybe like 3 weeks or maybe a month or something like that. So it was actually pretty quick for a full bridge replacement with a full road closure. So, you know, that was kind of an interesting thing, and, you know, it was cool to go out there actually and see them setting the girders in place. Here you can sort of see, is this the new bridge? This does look like the new bridge, yes. Used to be that the street views still showed the old road. However, this does indeed look like the new bridge. So I'm just curious though, if we go back in time, if it'll show this thing under construction. 12, nope, so we go basically from the old bridge right here to the new bridge. So there you go, the Coalbank Bridge outside of Ault, Colorado. Next bridge. All right, for the next project, we are gonna go just south of Boulder, Colorado, along State Highway 93. And this project didn't actually involve any bridges per se. There was a couple of box culverts, as you can see. I've got a box culvert right here, and each of this box culvert had some retaining wall to go along with it. Nothing fancy. And then there was another box culvert extension that we did down here. We actually didn't replace the entire box culvert. We just extended what was already there. to widen the road, but the brunt of this project is right here. There's actually a trail. Actually, this is actually kind of a popular trail. People ride horses, people hike along here, and we needed to put in a bridge for this. I guess it is technically a bridge, but what this was prefabricated arch units. So basically all we did was we've got these retaining walls, and then we had an abutment wall under here that they'd bring in these prefabricated arches and just sit them down on top and then fill the whole thing in with dirt, which was kind of cool. And you know, it's kind of interesting to see this. I've actually been out here and it looks nothing like what I was expecting. I guess that's what I should have expected, was that it would look nothing like I expected, because I was under the impression that this path was going to be concrete along here or something. And you know, it's not, but it's kind of an interesting little thing. This retaining wall is interesting in the fact that it's the part of the wall that retains the soil is actually a bunch of caissons behind it, which is interesting. It uses soil arching behind the caissons to actually retain the soil, and then this wall right here is just a decorative panel. So you know, that's kind of a interesting thing. And if you've ever been south of Boulder, Colorado on Highway 93, there you go. This I spent a lot of time working on this project, let me tell you. So there was this wall, and then there was also this wall, and then we had this really long wall over here to do. So yeah, it was an interesting project. It occupied a good, I don't know, 6 months of my life. So there you go. Next project. All right, so this one is up outside of Broomfield, Colorado, which is again kind of in the Boulder area. This is at the northwest corner of the Denver metro area. But this is the Wadsworth Avenue Bridge over Highway 36. And for this one, we actually were on site for this one. Let's see. Yeah, the project office is up there a little ways. But this is a three-span girder bridge, but it's kind of cool looking. We've got these decorative pieces here at the retaining walls at each end, which was kind of interesting. These girders have a lot of haunch to them, which, if you don't know what haunch is, girders aren't always like perfectly flat and straight. They come with pretensioning to kind of make them curve upward. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. If you look at a bridge closely, you'll notice that the girder is not straight, and that's done so that as you know, load goes over it, it's able to flex and, you know, handle the load of all the trucks and the cars and whatnot that's going over it. But let's just go ahead and do a street view underneath this guy. I've actually driven under this guy quite a bit. I spent quite a lot of time working on this particular bridge for really no real particular reason other than, I don't know, it just, every time I turned around, we'd have to change something. I mean, the thing that I hated about working on this bridge is that you look at all of the drainage that's coming off of this. The deck of this bridge is like Swiss cheese. I mean, we had to put holes everywhere to drain water. Let me see if I can get up on top here and see if we can see. But as you can see, there's a median here. So we had drains here and here and here, and we also had some drains here and here and here to get the water all off of there. There's more drains here. It was just a pain in the neck. And yeah, that's all I'll say about that. I've got another little bridge up on this project, and this was actually a utility bridge. So anybody that's been up Highway 36, you know, before this project would have noticed there was like a pipe that crossed the highway here, which basically carries an irrigation ditch. So what they did was made a walking path to go across it. What this is a pedestrian bridge that has the pipe underneath it. So let's just go down on the roadway. That way you can kind of sort of get an idea of what's going on here. Let's go to Street View. And there is this is a prefabricated steel truss bridge. And underneath it, there is a couple of pipes. Yeah, so here's a good shot up underneath this bridge where you can see that there's a couple of pipes that penetrate through the abutment right here. So the way this bridge worked, and Google Earth, it's kind of, Street View's kind of not doing it justice here. It's kind of cutting it off here, but these pipes carry a irrigation ditch, and we had to put them on these roller bearings so that as the bridge moved, the pipe could move and didn't break, all that stuff. But this here was a prefabricated truss done by a company, so all we really had to do was the abutments and the walls that go around it, just with the embedded bolts to fly the thing in with a couple of cranes and set it down and bolt it in place. So that is Highway 36, just south of Boulder, right outside of Broomfield, Colorado. Next project. All right, for this one, we are headed to Austin, Texas. We worked on the Manor Expressway, I think is what it was called, the Manor Expressway toll road, right? So I did a couple of these bridges along here. Any of you in Austin, Texas, down in this area, probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a road that goes from somewhere into Manor, Texas. But I did two bridges. One of them was the Manor Expressway over Tuscany Way. Let's just go ahead and give that a quick street view. Again, you know, none of these bridges are very earth-shatteringly awesome, but I mean, you know, look at it. It's just nice and clean, really nice and clean and wide. It's a good-looking bridge. I've actually had the pleasure of visiting these. Actually, my sister lives in Austin, Texas. So, you know, one of the times where I was down there visiting, we drove out to see them, and was kind of cool. That was kind of cool. And then there was also the bridge at Harris Branch, right here. And it was basically the same thing. TxDOT bridges are almost cut and paste. I mean, they're very prescriptive with the details that they want you to use. They're very prescriptive about the drawings that you use. I mean, when we did these, I did one bridge. As you can see, they look very, very much the same. So it was almost a cut and paste kind of an operation. But again, you know, it's nice. It's I don't know, you look at this and you think, hey, I did that. Or, you know, I didn't do it all myself, but, you know, I was involved with this, and, yeah, it's something to be, something to definitely be proud of. So, yeah, there we go. We're almost done with this, all the bridges that I worked on with this company, but we got a couple more, so let's go ahead and go to the next project. All right, for this one, we're headed back to Salt Lake City. Or, you know, the Salt Lake City area, I believe. This is outside, yeah, so you've got your Salt Lake City, American Fork, Provo. This is down in Payson, which is, I don't know, it's not necessarily Salt Lake City, but it's in that general area. And we did this bridge right here, which is, oh, what interstate is this? Interstate 15 over, I believe, Main Street, Payson Main Street. And again, it wasn't anything too terribly special other than the fact that this bridge has a terrible skew to the road that it's going over, which, you know, that presents a whole bunch of other interesting things to deal with. But let's just go give this a quick street view here. And as you can see, nothing too terribly special, just a bunch of girders. Boy, when was this taken? Because this, 2019, no, this is it. Boy, they've really let this go, because this was brand new just, I don't know, like 5 years ago? This bridge doesn't look like it's 5 years old. This bridge looks like it's 25 years old. But anyway, maybe the reason that this looks so old is because maybe it was a widening. I don't remember. I've done so many projects. No, that's exactly what this was. This is a widening project. As you can see, the original bridge is here. That's why it looks so old. And then we added onto it in the middle here. So we added this pier and then these two girders, and then we made the deck wider. That's exactly what it is. And again, right here you can see the original bridge and the one that we added here in the middle to make the whole thing wider. Yeah. Problem with working on so many projects is that you don't always remember exactly everything that you did, but now that I'm seeing this, it is jogging the old memory, and this wasn't even that long ago. I can't believe I didn't remember that. But anyway, got one more bridge to go to on this particular instance of the Bridges of Justin's Joint, and that is the Hone. This, I believe, is in Milwaukee. Yes, this is in Milwaukee. This is in Milwaukee, and this is actually a little bit more of a longer, more interesting bridge. As you can see, it's kind of a arch structure here. It's actually, it's kind of a cool looking bridge. I had actually never seen this until just recently when I looked it up, because what I was doing was not any of this stuff. I was just doing like blocking details and like stiffener details. This is a steel bridge, and steel bridges is not something that typically I have worked on, so it was kind of an interesting process for me to learn how to set up and work on all of this stuff. But again, you know, it's kind of a cool looking bridge, and one of these days it would be cool to go see it. Alright guys, well that does it for episode number 2 of the Bridges of Justin's Joint. You can stay tuned for episode number 3, which is going to be the final installment of this series. So all like 3 or 4 of you can watch it and enjoy. And until next time, right here in the joint, we will see you guys later.